Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are still talking about the entertaining live stream that the biggest two clowns in the world had to respond to Brother Farid. Let's go and watch.
Against the anniversary anyway. That's basically how it goes, right? This chapter, the Talmud says, whoever kills one Jew had killed the entire world. This is an interpretation by rabbis of the stories of Adam, Cain, and Abel. So the Quran seems to be adopting and mirroring the Talmud here. Muslims don't even accept the Talmud and rabbis as an authority.
Muhammad in the Quran quotes something as something that God revealed. And when we look at where we find this in the Jewish sources, it's not something from the Torah. It's not even something that's revealed as oral Torah, oral tradition. It's something that a rabbi concludes as an interpretation based on something he's read from the Torah. So a mere human being interpreter of the Torah draws this as a conclusion, and then we find the same conclusion in the Muslim sources. And so God says something about bloods crying out, and a dedicated rabbi will say blood. Well, it's like you're reading and you say, he says bloods instead of blood. I wonder why. Wait a minute, maybe he's telling me something here. Maybe he's telling me something here. What could he be telling me? And then they'll draw a conclusion out of it. But then you've got Muhammad who comes along and just hears now they're saying it.
Obviously.
First, let's respond to the most obvious fake philosopher in history, David Wood, who's trying to make the quote in the Talmud which says that if you kill a Jewish man, it's as if you have killed all mankind. He's trying to make it seem like it was the opinion of one or two rabbis. You know, a rabbi out of the blue came and read this verse and then told all the other rabbis, you know what, I figured it out. God is trying to tell us that if you kill a Jewish man, it's as if you have killed all mankind. That's what the verse is talking about. Look at the word blood. It's saying blood, it's not blood. So this was said by that rabbi, never said before. And of course this is just a baseless assumption. It's not just a baseless assumption, it's actually a stupid assumption. Let me give you an analogy. If you open Tafsir al-Tabari or Tafsir Ibn Kathir, you would find that al-Tabari and Ibn Kathir are giving opinion of earlier scholars. And they are not presenting those opinions as their own. And that's usually what's happening when a scholar tries to interpret a holy scripture. He is heavily relying on what he learned from his senior scholars. Now, the most obvious fake philosopher in history might come and say, oh, you see, in the example of At-Tabari and Ibn Kathir, you're saying that they quoted scholars, but in the example of the Talmud, there are no scholars quoted. Well, that's because in Islam we have a concept called isnad, which doesn't exist in Judaism. In Tafsir and in Hadith, we have the concept of isnad. If At-Tabari or Ibn Kathir were Jewish rabbis, you wouldn't have seen any mention of any other scholars. All of these opinions would be presented as the opinions of the author himself. My point is this. A rabbi who is interpreting the Torah is not going to say, well, let me open the Torah and let me try to, make up a new interpretation which has never been taught before. No, of course he's going to rely on what he learned from his senior rabbis.
And something that is a statement by a rabbi commenting on the Torah. He doesn't know the difference. He just hears the story. So,
David, obviously, you're not understanding the point here at all. Because when you look at the Quran, you see that the wording is very similar to the wording in the Talmud. And what does that prove? It proves that the Talmud took this from a source that's much older, and that this comes from a common source. That's why the wording is so similar. You don't understand anything.
That is the reasoning. And so there's some common source. But notice,
Honestly, that's not what it is.
it's a lost source.
It's a lost source. It's a common source, man.
As that ex-Muslim in prison said, it's Alexander the Great fan fiction that they're copying. Yeah. It's like Muhammad just hearing stuff left and right. He doesn't know what the source is, and he's just copying and putting it on the Quran. And then these guys, all these centuries later, are like justifying maybe it's this lost source.
It's a common source.
So here Apos and David Wood are making fun of Farid's response and of other Muslim apologists' response who say that the similarities show that there can be a common source for these two quotes. They are trying to present this as, some sort of a stupid response. And as I said before, if you pay someone money in order to destroy Christianity, he wouldn't have done it better than David would. Because this response of the existence of a common source is always given by Christian apologists to refute the accusation that the Bible plagiarized from earlier sources. And let's take one example very quickly. The Epic of Gilgamesh is often presented by scholars as the source from which the Bible copied the story of Noah's Ark, the story of the global flood. And I watch lots of responses from Christians. All of them, without any exception, use the common source response as one of their refutations to this argument. They are saying that maybe the Bible and the Epic of Gilgamesh had a common source, which is the story itself. The story of the flood took place, and then it was narrated by different people, and each one made his account of it, and then God revealed his account. So the similarities doesn't mean that the Bible borrowed the story from the Epic of Gilgamesh. So since you are trying to present this as a stupid response, maybe you will agree with me when I call this guy as inspiring stupidity. Let's listen to your friend.
Now, what many scholars suggest is not literary dependence, but shared traditions between Genesis and the other flood accounts. In other words, all the flood accounts are probably building off original oral traditions handed down to the later cultures.
The best thing about these anti-Islam clowns is that they are indirectly insulting and refuting each other. Let's carry on watching.
This is just horrible. I mean, oh my God.
World to perish. More importantly, there are several key differences between the Quranic verse and the Talmud. Most importantly, that the Quran is polemical here, refuting the Talmud, which asserts that killing a Jew is as if one is killing the whole of creation. The Quran goes on to correct this concept by affirming that this is for all man and not exclusive to Jewish victims.
Oh yeah,
stupid point, and once again shows he didn't read what he's well, he didn't understand anything that he's reading. If you recall the greater context, so the passage you quoted. By the way, in case anyone missed what he just said, right? What he said was the Talmud is saying that this only applies to Jews, that this is only applying to Jews, and the Quran is correcting the Talmud and saying this applies to all mankind. Well, what is that? What is the Quran correcting? The interpretation of a Jewish rabbi? No, the Quran says it's talking about the word of God, something that God revealed. So what exactly are you correcting here?
What a stupid point to make. The Quran is correcting a wrong understanding among Jews, that if you kill one Jewish man, it is as if you have killed all mankind. And the Quran is correcting that wrong understanding and saying that if you kill one man, it is as if you killed all mankind, not just one Jewish man.
But moreover, if you look at the version you quoted, AP, it's talking about legal cases, right? Yeah. It's talking about legal cases. Why did Allah reveal this to the Jews for their legal cases to show that if anyone kills a Jew, it's as if he's killed all mankind, right? So they're talking about these are Jewish legal cases, right? But notice the principle that they're talking about, that if you kill one man, it's as if you killed all mankind. Guess what? That's before there were any children of Israel, right? You're talking about Cain and Abel here. This is before you had any children of Israel. So they're taking the principle, which is if you kill someone, you're killing all his future generations in addition to just killing the person. That would apply to all mankind.
That's just a baseless assumption. It could be true that they are talking about all mankind, and it could be true that they were talking about Jewish people only. The wording here suggests that they are talking about Jewish people. So the argument that the Quran corrected that understanding is a very valid argument. You're here trying to give baseless assumptions such as, no, surely, definitely they were talking about all people. Maybe true, maybe false. The wording, however, suggests that this is false.
And by the way, little side note here. Notice, if Allah is being polemical here and he's refuting the interpretation of a rabbi, this must mean that Muhammad and his companions were familiar with the interpretation of the rabbi. So you can't say, oh, he didn't know about this stuff. This means that Muhammad and his companions, they know about this. They already know about this story in the Talmud, and Allah is correcting them. Well, if
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Yeah, David, wallahi, I have a very serious, honest question. Do you really have a degree in philosophy? The kind of stupid arguments you make, wallahi, they are so stupid. And this is not good for you. It's not even good for the sheep who are following you. Yeah, David, Allah Azza wa Jal is God, an all-knowing God. Whether Prophet Muhammad knew about the Talmud or his companions knew about the Talmud or not, that wouldn't affect Allah's knowledge. So even if this was not known to Prophet Muhammad and to his companions, they will still be known to Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah Azza wa Jal can correct any statement in the world. Yeah, David, please respect your viewers. I know that you view them as brainless morons, but even as brainless morons, they are worthy of some respect from you because they are the ones who are giving you money. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Let's carry on watching.
Seems to have happened here is that Muhammad heard Jews talk about Cain and Abel and about how if one kills one man, it is as if he had killed all mankind. Muhammad probably didn't really understand that this was merely a teaching by Jewish rabbis.
Yes, because what Jews love doing most is talking about the Mishnah verses in Arabic in front of an allegedly false prophet. The suggestion is ridiculous, since it would imply that the prophet, peace be upon him, memorized a random discussion, then waited several years before including it verbatim with correction.
I'm sorry, are you completely stupid? Are you completely dumb?
this is like some of the dumbest
How
stuff
in
I've
the
heard in my life.
world do you come to that conclusion? How in the world do you come to that objection? You must be completely stupid. Wait,
As part of
before I go into why.
Since Surah Al-Ma'idah is the last revealed chapter, Radwan knows well that there were no Jews in Medina
I know.
after the year 5, after Hijrah.
Yeah, because they were all expelled. Here, or killed. Look, this is the dumbest thing that I have heard in this video so far, and we have heard a lot of very dumb things. This is an incredibly stupid objection.
If you count how many times they use the word dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid, I think the time will be close to half of the live stream. Half of the live stream they spend in this kind of behavior. Which shows, by the way, the mental problem that Ridwan is suffering from because of Farid's videos. Get to the point, Apos.
Listen, imagine a certain situation. We all know, if we know about the history of Muhammad and the Jews and Medina, what we know is that when Muhammad went to Medina, there were Arab tribes in charge, and there were some major Jewish tribes and sub-tribes, which were, subjects of different tribes in Medina. They had a very rich presence, the Jews, before they were killed and expelled by the Muslims. And imagine this, Muhammad comes there, establishes laws, they talk to Jews, they interact with Jews the entire time. Something happens, somebody among the Jews kills another Jew, and Muhammad goes there to figure out what's going on and to settle things in a legal way. And the Jews then say to him, well, in our law, we believe that if one kills a Jew, it is as if he had killed the entire world, because this is what our scholars said, and the rabbi can tell us more about this. Dear rabbi, why don't you come and explain this? And the rabbi comes and explains the law, and Muhammad witnesses this. Muhammad then goes and later on includes this as a revelation. This is a very likely situation, because Muhammad was, as per the claims of Islam, directly involved with the laws of his Medinan society and the laws of the Jews present there, who wanted to establish their own laws, but also work within a moral framework of the ruling Islamic power. He must have heard things about how Jews judge, and this is a fundamental part of Jewish law. So, Farid, you dumb idiot, it's not something that you can only hear once the Talmud is translated into Arabic in 2012. It's something that you would hear in the 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century, as long as you have a Jewish presence somewhere nearby.
Quite a story, isn't it? Here Farid is saying that Prophet Muhammad had no access to the Talmud because the Talmud was translated in Arabic centuries later. Apos calls that dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid, and then presents some sort of a scenario where he says that it's, highly likely to have happened that a Jewish man killed someone. Then Prophet Muhammad went there because Prophet Muhammad interfered in their legal issues. Then the Jews told him that, in our law, be careful, Prophet Muhammad, because in our law, if someone killed a Jewish man, it is as if he killed all mankind. Well, first of all, Apos, this has nothing to do with legal issues. It's very irrelevant to the legal issues. Because if I want to implement punishment, I would ask, what's the punishment for killing someone? And it's irrelevant to come and say, if someone killed a Jewish man, it is as if he killed all mankind. What does that mean? Are they going to kill him 1,000 times? It's a very ridiculous story, but I'll be so generous with Apos, and I'll accept this stupid story. I will just add one little part at the end, Apos, if you allow me. A Jewish man killed someone. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went to judge. The Jews told him that in our law, if you kill a Jewish man, it is as if you killed all mankind. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ learned this from Jews. However, after this little incident, Allah Azza wa Jal revealed a verse to correct that statement and to say that if you kill one soul, not just one Jewish soul, one soul, it is as if you killed all mankind.
More importantly, there are several key differences between the Quranic verse and the Talmud. Most importantly, that the Quran is polemical here, refuting the Talmud, which asserts that killing a Jew is as if one is killing the whole of creation. The Quran goes on to correct this concept by affirming that this is for all man and not exclusive to Jewish victims.
Oh, yeah.
A while ago, you laughed at Farid's explanation that this is polemical. But based on the story you just imagined, Farid's explanation makes perfect sense. Jews told the Prophet ﷺ that in our law, if you kill a Jewish man, it is as if you killed all mankind. Allah Azza wa Jal revealed a verse to say, no, if you kill one soul, it is as if you killed all mankind, not just one Jewish soul. Now I challenge Apos and the most obvious fake philosopher in history, David Wood, to tell me why this doesn't make sense. You are the one who gave the story. I just added a little to it. And now you can't tell me why that doesn't make sense. Anyway, we'll stop here. Eid Mubarak to all brothers and sisters, and Jazakumullah khairan for your support. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.